Okay, so we've all been there. You leave a voicemail for a friend, or you film a quick video on your phone, and out of curiosity, you hit playback. And immediately, you cringe. Who is that? Is that really me? Why do I sound so whiny, so nasally, so high pitched? The voice coming out of the speaker sounds like a stranger, and worse, it's a stranger you don't particularly like. If this happens to you, don't worry. You're experiencing a universally human phenomenon. It is so common that psychologists actually have a name for it: voice confrontation. But why does it happen? Why is there such a massive disconnect between the rich, resonant voice you hear in your head and the thin, awkward voice that plays back on a recording? The answer involves the physics of sound, the anatomy of your skull, and a surprising psychological quirk about how we view ourselves. To understand the disconnect, we first have to understand how you hear the world around you. When someone else speaks, their vocal cords vibrate, creating sound waves. These waves travel through the air, into your ear canal, and vibrate your eardrum. This process is called air conduction. When you listen to a recording of your own voice, that is exactly what's happening. The microphone captured the air-conducted sound waves coming out of your mouth, and the speaker is pushing them back through the air into your ears. But when you speak out loud in real time, the process is entirely different. Yes, some of the sound leaves your mouth, travels through the air, and loops back to your ears, but that's only half the story. Because your vocal cords are located inside your throat, their vibrations also travel directly through the solid mass of your body. They vibrate through your neck, up through your jaw, and directly through the bones of your skull to reach your inner ear. This second pathway is called bone conduction. Here's the crucial part. Solid bone is much better at transmitting low-frequency vibrations than open air is. So when your voice travels through your skull, the bone conduction naturally amplifies the bass frequencies. It basically acts like a subwoofer, giving your voice a richer, deeper, and warmer tone. So when you speak, you're actually hearing a blend of two different audio feeds: the air-conducted sound and the bass-boosted bone-conducted sound. You are literally the only person on Earth who hears this specific, deep, resonant mix. Everyone else in the world, and every microphone ever invented, only hears the air-conducted version. The recording is not lying to you. The recording is what you actually sound like. The voice in your head is a customized, bass-heavy remix that only exists for you. You can actually test this right now. Try speaking out loud while plugging your ears tightly. You'll notice that you can still hear your own voice quite clearly. That is pure bone conduction. Now, try listening to a recording of your voice, but with your ears plugged. You will barely hear a thing because the air conduction has been blocked, and there is no bone conduction happening. But the physics of bone conduction is only part of the story. The rest of the explanation is psychological. Because you've spent your entire life listening to the bone-conducted, bass-boosted version of your voice, you've developed a deep familiarity with it. In psychology, there's a concept known as the mere exposure effect. Simply put, we tend to like things more just because we're familiar with them. You like the voice in your head because it's the voice you've heard every day since you learned to speak. It's a core part of your identity. When you hear a recording, that familiarity is stripped away. The voice is higher, thinner, and lacks the warmth you expect. This creates a jarring cognitive dissonance. As Dr. Silke Paulman, a psychologist at the University of Essex, explains, the fact that we sound different than we expect leads us to cringe, because it doesn't meet our internal expectations. No one likes to realize that they're not who they think they are. Interestingly, this reaction goes even deeper than just pitch and tone. In 1966, psychologists Phil Holzman and Clyde Rousey conducted a series of experiments on voice confrontation. They discovered that when people hear their recorded voices, they're not just reacting to the lack of bass frequencies, they're also reacting to extra-linguistic cues. When you speak, Your voice carries an enormous amount of emotional data. It reveals your anxiety level, your indecision, your sadness, your anger. Holzman and Rousey found that when people hear a recording, they are suddenly confronted with the expressive qualities in their voice that they had not intended to reveal, and were completely unaware they were expressing. When we speak in real time, our brains are focused on the words that we're trying to say, not the microexpressions in our tone. In fact, recent research suggests that our auditory cortex, the part of the brain that processes sound, partially powers down when we speak. We literally tune ourselves out. But when we listen to a recording, we're hearing our voice disembodied from our actions. We're forced to evaluate ourselves the same way we evaluate a stranger. We hear the hesitation, the nervousness, or the awkwardness that we thought we were hiding. If you absolutely hate your recorded voice, you might be wondering if everyone else hates it too. The good news is they don't. Other people are not comparing your voice to the deep resonant version in your head because they've never heard that version. To them, your recorded voice is just your voice. It is the exact same voice that they've always associated with you. In fact, you're probably a terrible judge of your own voice. In a fascinating 2013 study, researchers had participants rate the attractiveness of various recorded voice samples. Secretly, the researchers mixed each participant's own recorded voice into the playlist. And astonishingly, when participants did not recognize that they were listening to themselves, they actually rated their own voices as sounding more attractive than other people did. It's only when we realize it's us that the self-criticism kicks in. So, next time you hear a recording of yourself and feel the urge to cringe, just take a deep breath. Remember that you are missing the bone conduction subwoofer that you're used to. Remember that you're experiencing the mere exposure effect in reverse. And most importantly, remember that you are your own harshest critic. The voice on the recording might sound strange to you, but to your friends, your family, and everyone else in your life, it just sounds like you.